And welcome into another episode of Tiger Territory, part of the Battle Territory Network, a Detroit Tigers podcast. I am Kieran Steckley. With me, as always, a man who, when you say same old story, well, this is the guy that has to write the same old story. He is Cody Stavenhagen. How you doing?
I don't know if I'm doing well. I've watched some bad baseball games over the past month or so, man. This was actually a very good, well played baseball game for the most part, but another one that had a pretty brutal feeling to it if you're watching from any sort of Tigers perspective. They haven't scored more than 5 runs in a game since September 10th against the Yankees. Like the offense, I talked about it after game one. The bats have to wake up, and I kind of thought they were. I was like, I just think these guys are due. Those bats didn't wake up, man. They were sound asleep for the most part. I mean, I guess you got 15 guys on base. You left a lot of opportunities on the table, a lot of empty at bats once again. And you had your rookie pitcher that you've asked a lot of let you down in the eighth inning. And it felt a little bit like a dagger. It was certainly a dagger for game two. I guess game three will be a new day, but watching this team play for the better part of a month, this feels like we went back in time a week and it was like, I don't know if the Tigers are ever going to win again. Like, it just doesn't feel like the same team. I'm not going to walk out of the park here in a little bit with a good feeling about this game and about the vibe of the team.
So, obviously, Tigers lose 6-1. Yeah, I could put the score in there in the first couple of minutes of the podcast. So, game 3 will be Thursday, and it's a winner take all. I'm a big believer in sort of like the law of averages, and it's like, look, you get enough guys on base. Like the law of averages say that you are going to, convert those base runners into runs. Of course, I've been saying that now for the better part of a
Going back
month
to
plus.
last year's ALDS when the Tigers were 4 for 42 with runners in
Right.
scoring position.
Like I tend to think that stuff is random, but
The Tigers were good. They were 10th in average with runners in scoring position and 6th in OPS in the regular season. They were pretty bad in September, but for 5 months, they were great in those situations. Not great, good.
well, okay. So 1 for 15 today with runners in scoring position. Let me just read off how everybody did. Baez 1 for 1. We'll talk about that particular play here in a second. Jahmai Jones 0 for 1. We'll talk about that play in a second. Meadows 0 for 2. Perez 0 for 3. Riley Greene 0 for 2. Carpenter 0 for 2. Dingler 0 for 1. Torkelson 0 for 2. And then Malloy at the end there 0 for 1. That is brutal. I mean, that's okay. So Meadows, leadoff hitter 0 for 2. Perez, middle of the order guy ish 0 for 3. Greene, all-star 0 for 2. Carpenter, who is actually hitting in this series, but 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position today.
He
And
gave you
then,
that first inning was just killer. Carp actually gave you a good at bat, battled a little bit.
yeah.
Torques at bat was just whiff.
Mhm.
Riley, similar. Just that was awful.
Because again, there was an opportunity to turn this game into like a little bit of a copy, maybe an enhanced version of game one. And you would take it every single time circumstantially with you have runners on first and second, and you have Carp,
Guardians
Torque.
gifted you 2 base runners.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm. And in certain situations, not just Ks, but non-competitive Ks, with runners in scoring position today, Cody. In addition to the 1 for 15, and in the series, they're 2 for 23. 7 strikeouts with runners in scoring position. 7.
Bad. That's bad.
The Guardians were only 2 for, like I say only, they were 2 for 3. They only had 3 at bats with runners in scoring position. They win this game 6-1. It just it defines explanation, because again, I'm a big believer is just like keep pounding the rock, keep priming the pump, like all these like metaphors or whatever, and eventually it the well is going to burst. But we haven't seen that since really like, the Tigers were in the Bronx, like a well bursting for them offensively. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know if even someone as smart as AJ or guys on the team have an explanation for that, because it keeps happening over and over and over and over.
I mean, it's amazing there hasn't been more of a concession to just put the ball in play. There's one guy who's done that. His name's Javier Baez, who of all people is having quality at bats, fighting in at bats, conceding to slap a ball the other way or hit something hard on the ground. And I'm not a big you need to choke up and poke it the other way type guy, but with runners on base, you do have to play the game a little bit, and so the Tigers' core hitters have seemed either unwilling or just incapable of doing that for more than a month now.
Yeah, Javi, by the way, is 4 for 7 in this series, and has consistently came up big, including in that fourth inning with the single. Obviously, he ends up on second base. It doesn't matter because McKinstry's out at third, and that cost the Tigers a run because Dingler had not crossed the plate yet and all that stuff. I guess we can just kind of get into that now, because that completely changed the complexion of the game. Was the fact that your, I would say, best horse when it comes to base running ability and a guy that you would trust the most in Zach McKinstry, first to third on a single, like that's automatic. Yeah, it was to left center, and was a good play, but the fact that he was out by a matter of inches turned out to be a magnitude of a difference, because it costs you a run. And then the review and all that stuff. I mean, what was kind of crazy going back and looking at that replay is that normally when there's a play at a base and a guy is out or safe or whatever, and they think the call is wrong, the person immediately kind of like calls for the headset or whatever to the dugout. Jose Ramirez didn't do that. Like Jose was just kind of like, keeping the ball and just kind of making sure, like the play was dead. And then Vogt comes out and he like makes sure the umpires know exactly what he's challenging and all the ramifications of what an out would be there. And it was a long review. It was one of those reviews that was like, if it's taking this long, I'm not sure you can get a good angle. But it turned out, obviously, they got it right. Both ways they got it right. But just brutal, because that completely changes the complexion of the game. And that's the Tigers doing Tigers things, Cody. And it came up short with the guys you rely on.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of people saying it was a critical mistake, dumb base running, can't make the last out at third. This is how this team's played all year. Zach McKinstry's been the best in baseball at it. Chase Tolader made a really good throw, man. It was 92 miles an hour. It was on the money. Mm-hmm. Looking at the replays, McKinstry, was a couple steps off second when Tolader got that ball. He had to gun it, and he did. I think, unfortunately, it stings more in a big spot, and it stings a lot more in the playoffs, but I think you can live with that, when that's your identity and that's your mentality. Looking at the replay, man, I kind of thought they were going to go with call stands. It was so close. Call stands, something we've been talking about since opening day. But for anyone who thinks the umps hosed the Tigers, Zach McKinstry said he looked at the replay and thought he was out. So that's coming from the guy himself. I don't think you can blame this on the umps. I don't think you can blame Zach McKinstry or Joey Cora. I think the rookie who gifted you a base runner in the first inning and you didn't do anything with it, then made a big play and just won the competition.
Yeah, that's a hat tip moment for him right there for sure. All right, we are going to take a quick break, and then afterward, we're going to talk about the decision of the day from AJ Hinch. But first, a word from our sponsors. October baseball is here. The pressure's on, the lights are brighter, and with DraftKings Sportsbook, you're right there in the middle of every moonshot moment. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers the intensity of October, player props, live in-game betting, and odds that can change as fast as the ball flying over the fence. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get paid out $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use this, and you should too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FAL. It's code FAL to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, coming back here. Sometimes AJ is in his bag, and he definitely managed this game like a pretty much gotta have it. Not a gotta have it, but pretty much gotta have it game from Jump Street. And the Mize decision to take him out after 61 pitches. It was part of it, but also pinch hitting in the 7th inning. So just to recap, Gleyber Torres gets hit by a pitch. Kerry Carpenter singles Torres to third. Torkelson flies out, and it was a short, fly out, kind of misleading. It was a shallow fly ball. And then the Guardians bring in Aaron, and then AJ Hinch decides, I'm going to take out Riley Greene, my all-star starting left fielder, a guy I seldom pinch hit for in any situation, if at all, for Jahmai Jones, who admittedly is quite hot. And I'll just tell you what I was thinking at the time, Cody. I was not a fan. I was not a fan of pinch hitting for Riley Greene. I understand the lefty-lefty thing. I understand that Riley is 0 for 7 in his career against that particular pitcher. He does have 2 walks, just forever that's worth, and only a 620 OPS against lefties this year. I understand all of that. My thing was it was too early in the game to make that move because, if you're thinking it's going to be a close game, that guy's going to come around the lineup again, right? And it actually did end up happening. It also burned 2 guys off your bench with moving McKinstry to left field and bringing in Andy Ibanez, who didn't even bat today. Surprisingly, probably the most Andy Ibanez ever played in a baseball game without getting an at bat. But I understand why he did it. It was one of those moves that had it worked out, he would have looked like a freaking genius. And you and I have been very much aboard do we realize how good Jahmai Jones has been trained? It's not like we're anti-Jones guys here. In that situation with that particular player, Riley Greene, I think I'm sticking with my guy in that situation. Maybe I'm wrong, but that was what I thought at the time, and I would still think it had it worked out, but it just didn't. It just didn't.
I liked the decision. I thought AJ Hinch managed a fantastic game. He was aggressive. He wanted to win today. He made the move for Holton early. It worked out. I actually think he hoped Stephen Vogt would burn some of his right-handed hitters off the bench, which would then set him up better for Finnegan, Vest, or our friend Troy Melton at the end of the game. It didn't work out that way, which he forced pressure on Stephen Vogt. If you're not going to go to your bench, all right, your lefty's got to face Holton, and he's going to mow him down. I think Riley Greene deserved to be pinch hit for. I mean, just by the numbers he did, his OPS has fallen to, I think, 640 against left-handed pitching. The reason Riley Greene has never been pinch hit for in a situation like that is he's supposed to be your best player. He's supposed to be a good hitter. Supposed to be able to handle lefties. Well, he's not really handled lefties this year, and he's not handled them or come through in big moments at all for you lately. AJ Hinch really wanted a ball in play, which has been the opposite of what Riley Greene has given you. He's showed a lot of faith in Riley through a really difficult period. But here when it mattered most, there's no guarantee you're going to get another shot at him. Runners on first and third, 1 out. AJ said we had to take our shot. The math supports giving Jahmai the at bat there. It's still a big move. It's a full send because you're sending a message. All right, this guy who's the closest thing we have to a franchise player, he's not immune to getting pinch hit for. Like it was a little bit of a statement, spoke to also just to his desperation and the Tigers' desperation for runs because this lineup has not produced in forever. I had no problem with the decision. In fact, I should have seen a decision like this before. I get why it's controversial. I get why it's a talking point. I asked AJ, I think, 2 different questions about it post game because it's a big story. But I think the move made all the sense in the world. There's a little risk of, you don't have Riley for the rest of the game. But given how this series with Cleveland has gone, given it's the playoffs, I fully support the decision.
Would you have done that in the 6th inning, the 5th inning, the 4th inning?
Probably not the 4th, 6th, Do you guarantee the order rolls around one more time? 6, 7, 8. So probably not. But the 7th, there's no guarantee that at bat comes back around. So I think that was an appropriate time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's also. I'm looking at the stats right now. Does Riley lead the team in extra base hits in these 2 games? He's got 2 doubles. Probably. It's not like he hasn't been hitting this series.
Yeah.
Like I get it. The math is the math on that one. This is me kind of coming at it from an L perspective. Like the math supports that decision.
You're trying to win the game. Riley hasn't been even going with the feel. He had a double against a righty, but Riley just has not been good, and he strikes out more than anyone in baseball. So I get it. Riley, to his credit, after the game, said the right things. I asked him, "What did you think?" He said, "I didn't think anything," which, whatever. But he said, "I fully trust AJ. I trust his decisions. We're all in. That doesn't stop with anybody." I asked AJ, "Hey, are you going to have to talk to Riley about this just because you haven't done it before?" And he said, no. He said, this is basically how our team operates. All our guys know that. He said, Riley will be in there tomorrow. If I happen to see him, maybe I'll talk about it. But he didn't think it was important to bring it up, which I actually wonder if that's true. Because that's the downstream effect. That's something AJ talks about. The downstream effect of this is I think it sends a message to Riley Greene also that you got to get it together, bud. You're not just guaranteed these at bats. You're not the franchise player because you haven't quite performed like a franchise player against both sided pitching. I hope it doesn't shake Riley's confidence because it could. It could do that, or it could be a wake up call. I think he should probably have a conversation with Riley about it, just to explain it, even reiterate faith in Riley. It can be a positive conversation, but I do think it needs to be addressed, and I wouldn't be shocked if it does get addressed.
I didn't see all of post game stuff. Do you think Vogt thought that was going to happen?
I wasn't there for Vogt, and I haven't looked at what he said yet because I've been doing a million other things. So if I'm Stephen Vogt, I would be surprised.
Yeah. Well, again, you look like a freaking
Jemai
genius.
Jones was surprised, I think.
Yeah, you look like a freaking genius if Jemai gets a base hit or better. That's baseball. That's playoff baseball. I understand all that. I'm coming from the losing perspective here, but I would stick with my guy there. Okay.
I want to talk about Melton in the 8th. That was the one decision. I don't think it's AJ Hinch's fault. I think it's Scott Harris's fault. The Tigers don't have the back end reliever that they need. And you did a couple things, but you didn't do enough. And now you're here in the playoffs, and you already used Finnegan. And AJ wanted to pitch best with the lead or in the 9th. And so it's all right, who else you got? The answer is you don't really have anyone that you fully trust. Could have been Rafael Montero. AJ hasn't really been pitching him in leverage. You don't trust him. He walks too many guys. Brant Herter was a lefty. I think AJ didn't want to run the risk of some pinch hitting going on there, would be my guess. Felt better against Melton against their lefties than Herter against their righties. But I don't know. Melton has not been great against lefties since coming to the big leagues. This kid, biggest moment of his life. This team has asked a ton out of him. He's thrown more innings than he ever has in his life. I think it just kind of sucks that he got put in that spot, and it kind of sucks that AJ Hinch didn't have a clear, better option, so he went with the dude who has the best stuff, and it didn't work out. The 0-2 pitch to Rocchio was horrible, but I asked Melton where he's trying to put it. He said middle in, and it kind of was. It was just a little more over the plate. And I looked at Rocchio, like Rocchio's hot zones from the left side. He kills pitches middle in. So I guess that's on Dylan Dingler, like especially 0-2, like if it evens to 2-2 or something, and that's where you want to take your shot. But why not go above the zone? First two pitches were breaking ball or breaking ball off speed. I think fastball above the zone, try to get a chase there would make sense. Middle in, 0-2, I think that was a critical mistake, and maybe didn't matter as much because then the floodgates open. Melton just didn't really have it. So talk about missed chances. Tigers had a chance to compose their roster better. They didn't do that. Now you're paying for it in game 2 for playoff series.
Right. Yeah. And then also in regards to the floodgates getting open, and again, like we talked about, like the law of averages here, and like the part of the whole moniker of guards ball is just like these, kind of going against what mathematically seems most likely. And Bo Naylor having a home run off Herder. Herder had not given up a home run to a lefty all year.
Wow.
And that's the game. I mean, they're obviously already behind, but like that's game. You know what I mean? Like it's over after that. So spinning it forward here, like if there's a slight silver lining, it's that the Guardians went to Hunter Gaddis again, who pitched 20. They had 20 pitches. That's 39. In 2 days, and then Cade Smith got like a little bit of an extended run. He had 31 pitches. That's 50 in 2 days. I assume both these guys will be available, tomorrow, but I'm just kind of updating the workload a little bit on, their biggest pieces there. And they were able to kind of get to Gaddis a little bit. And then Smith, was able, like he got it done or whatever, but they were able to do some things against Smith where they typically don't. So just like for the record there, game and situation obviously matters, but Jack Flaherty going in game 3.
Again, I wish I felt better about that.
Slay Saccone.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, as I said before this series, this is what the money's for, Jack. Like you were signed, last year you were traded for by the team that ended up winning the World Series to be able to use in moments like this. And you were signed here for that purpose as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think AJ will be, again, aggressive with the bullpen. If Jack can give you, 3 or 4 good innings, you'll take it. Thing that he can just be so prone to blow ups sometimes that I'm a little nervous. Silver lining, you're facing a lineup that still is really bad. So don't mess up. It can be another low-scoring game. You're going to have to hit the ball. That's probably what it comes down to. Get a few quality innings from Jack Flaherty and hit the baseball. When runners are on second base. Like, if you do that, you have a chance to win, advance. Some of this angst will dissipate if you win a playoff series. But game 2, this was a tough one for the Tigers. No way around it.
Yeah, very true. Any other topics or storylines you want to get into before we get out of here?
What are we missing? There's so much happened today, man. Spencer Torkelson got an X-ray on his foot after the game. He fouled the ball off his foot, which I didn't even see. It wasn't the ball that hit him in the hand or wrist. X-ray was negative, so I guess that's good, but didn't find out about that until after AJ Hinch talked, so have to see if that could limit his availability at all, which would certainly be a concern, even though Torque did not have a good game. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think that's about all I got for now.
All right. Well, we will be there and be here to react to Game 3, the final of the American League Wildcard Series between the Cleveland Guardians and the Detroit Tigers. And again, you can follow us on YouTube and Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Cody Stavenhagen. I am at Kieran _Steckley. Pod pages at Tiger Territory _. It's all on the line tomorrow, and it's gonna, a chapter in history will be written tomorrow. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to talk about it with you, Cody, afterward, and I hope everybody is able to appreciate what we're watching, which is two teams that really play this game hard and smart, and we'll see what happens. So for Cody Stavenhagen, I'm Kieran Steckley. Everybody have a great day.